Hey guys, and welcome to the fish room. I'm Rachel O'Leary, and today we're going to take a look in my 30-gallon turtle tank, do some maintenance, and talk about how that's been going, as well as add some fish. I am in the process of getting ready to have dual hand surgery. I won't be able to have my hands in aquariums for a month, so we'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing to pregame for that. And also over the next 2 weeks or so, we're going to be trying to move as many fish as I can from my breeder rack, my wall of tanks on the other side of the fish room, into these main displays, and shuffling fish from tank to tank over here to try and make sensible communities for the next few months. This will allow me to start new projects on the other side of the fish room should I want to, as well as just better utilize the space I have. Now the hope is that by moving everything together on this side, I'll be able to utilize my drain ports and everything in order to maintain these aquariums without getting my hands wet. You can imagine, as an aquarist, it's difficult to be told you can't get your hands wet for a month. Now that won't mean that I can't feed the fish or have these tanks taken care of. My children or my boyfriend will be happy to help me. But I'd like to pregame as much as possible, clean the tanks very thoroughly, prep everybody for essentially a prolonged vacation. And we'll talk more about what I'll do to be ready for this recovery period as it gets nearer. Anyway, let's get to work on the 30-gallon turtle tank. I'm going to start by turning off the filter just because in this aquarium, because the water level is low, it will blow everything everywhere. So I just unplug it from underneath. Then on this aquarium, I have a wire top that I modified. Move that out of the way and just throw the light back up on the back so I can see what's happening. And then I'll start by cleaning the glass. And I'll clean the glass because this is a new aquarium, it's still getting some diatoms, and because of all the leaf litter that sort of feeds some microorganisms. There's a little bit of seed shrimp. I've gone around the fish room this morning and collected some more snails to add into here. They'll help eat some of this stuff, keep the leaf litter clean, and also provide enrichment and a snack for the turtle in here. So one of the goals for prepping for this surgery is to give every aquarium that I'm going to keep running a really good cleaning beforehand, so that if they can only get basic water changes while I'm out of commission, they'll be fine. I will have to keep my hands dry, meaning not be in tanks for about a month, maybe 6 weeks, which is kind of difficult, as you can imagine, when you run a bunch of aquariums. During the time that I'm out, I'll only be feeding lightly, so that should help with the waste produced. And again, a lot of my aquariums are pretty lightly stocked. I'm not sure where baby Turt is right now. He's in here somewhere. One of you guys who has way more experience than me pointed out that he does not need UVB. So I've discontinued that. Having those basking in UV lights on all the time was creating quite a bit of algae over on this side of the aquarium. I mean, it's easy to manage just by scraping, but I prefer to not have it at all. So after I scrape the glass, I'll let everything settle to the bottom so that I can vacuum it out. I'll also take a net at this time and clean up any of the stuff floating at the surface. Then I will take a little bottle brush and just rub down the wood a bit. I just use one of these dudes. Go through and clean off some of the surface mung that is accumulated in this new tank. This tank is very easy keeper because, again, it's one turtle in this whole huge tank. Well, I guess I shouldn't call a 30-gallon huge, but it's a bit of space for one turtle. Now that stuff is settling to the bottom, I'll grab a siphon hose. Start a siphon. I have a little bulb thingy that I use to start the siphon. See if I can attach the hose to this, and it starts a siphon. I believe this one is made by Python. Just give it some squeezes. Starts the siphon. If you want less of a siphon, you can pinch the hose. I'll do about a 50% water change on this aquarium. Again, pinching off the hose to stop the flow so that I can move some of the leaf litter to get to the debris. You could certainly use a siphon with an end. I just prefer to use the hosing. Again, the Ciche filter on this keeps this tank surprisingly clean, especially for it having pool filter sand. So I'm really stoked with that, and I'll show you guys in a minute how I clean that too. There's the turtle. Once I've done most of my siphoning, I'll switch to draining into the ports that I have around my fish room, which go to a pump that pumps it to the sewer line. Now eventually I hope to convert that to pump the water to the outdoor world because I can use it in my gardens. It's great fertilizer. Go through, stick Anubias back in spots. They haven't really taken root yet since this is a newer tank. To kind of remind them that they want to be in the cracks and crevices of the wood. And I'm sure the turtle is disrupting them. I mean, it's entirely possible in time he'll actually start eating them. Alright, that's probably enough water. Now, I don't have to use any water conditioner because I have a well. I just temperature match and refill. If you were using municipal water, city water, you would want to dose the tank for the total volume with your water conditioner before adding it or pre-treat the water. As more stuff gets blown about from refilling, I'll go through and siphon some more, do some spot cleanup. Then in the meantime, I will pull apart the canister. This one's nice because you can just disconnect it like that. Take the lid off. Take this over to the sink and dump it. I'll be right back. Open these up, take our bucket here, rinse out the filter pads. You can see they're not particularly dirty. Yep. Just rinse everything out, reassemble. Then it's ready to put back in place. Do that, and then on the top of, well, that's starting the siphon without me doing anything, which is nice. But on the top of the intake is a little thing that you can pull that I'll show you. Can also start the siphon by doing this. And you can see the water running through the tubes. These are the snails I collected from around the fish room. Just going to go ahead and add them in. Trying to not add any duckweed, which has once again infested my entire fish room. I'll plug in my filter. He's already looking for the snails. Go ahead and replace my lid. Let everything settle down and we'll take a look and feed the turt. So it's been about 15 minutes and you can see everything has cleared up nicely. I'm pretty pleased with this tank overall. I think I'd like to add more leaf litter. Maybe I'll go collect some fish to add to this. I kind of want to add Danio Chopre just because I have a whole lot of them and they're really pretty. I just made an executive decision that I could break down an aquarium on the other side of the fish room by adding these Chopre into the turtle tank. Now we'll find out together how Stinky does with them. Of course, I have plenty of aquariums, so if it doesn't work out, if he starts eating them, it's easy for me to just remove them. I'm certainly interested. One of the reasons I thought these fish would be a good choice is that they do pretty well with flow and they can take more temperate water, and since this aquarium is not kept particularly warm, I think it'll be fine. Plus they're small fish. These are only about half grown. These are ones I bred outside this year, but they should do fine long term in here as long as the turtle doesn't decide to eat them. Now, stinkpots are not known to be particularly good hunters, so I'm hopeful with the amount of caves, hides, and leaf litter in here, these guys will be able to avoid him adequately. But we'll figure it out together. I think the hardest part is just being able to keep track of how many are in here, since they're small and there's so many hides. I added 15. Again, this is a 30-gallon. It's still way understocked. But these fish, when they hit maturity, are gorgeous and are going to look really beautiful when they do hit maturity. So I'm hoping this is going to work out. Make sure you subscribe with that notification bell on if you want to see updates on this aquarium or any of the others in the fish room. As always, I hope everyone is staying safe and staying healthy. Thank you for the continued support, and I will see you in the next video.